For generations, Indians relied on radio for news, views and entertainment. The scene changed dramatically with the advent of television. A leading European company exhibited its closed-circuit TV equipment at an international exposition in India in 1959. At the end of the expo, the equipment was gifted to the people of India, and, encouraged by UNESCO, the government decided to utilize it for educational purposes. Engineers at All India Radio experimented with this equipment and used it for the first telecast on the 15th of September 1959, inaugurated by the President of India. In the beginning, television transmission was limited to half an hour, twice a week, with the program content reflecting the developmental priorities of the nation and essentially comprising educational material, striving to inculcate a better civic sense among viewers. The viewership was confined to members of 20 teleclubs started by the government in Delhi. Bulky and expensive television receivers were provided by the government for community viewing, and programming focused on socio-economic development. Subsequently, 250 schools in Delhi joined these viewers. On selected days of the week, special programs were telecast on an experimental basis to cater to their needs. Television was visualized as a tool for accelerating development. This was the genesis of Doordarshan. The country was poised on the threshold of the Green Revolution, and television played a significant role as its harbinger. Almost unnoticed at first, news in Hindi made a humble beginning in 1965 with a short daily bulletin and the transmission limited to a very short range in the vicinity of the national capital. For years, it was All India Radio that provided the content that was illustrated with available visuals for daily telecasts. A little later, a magazine program, Perspective, was started.
Now, we've put no icing on the cake because this is not a celebration. Instead, we'd like you to share with us some of the shame.
Perspective generated great interest during the Indo-Pak War in 1971 and encouraged producers to extend its duration and telecast news analysis live. Television was confined to Delhi and adjacent areas for 13 years before a second centre was established in Bombay. This was followed by regional centres at Amritsar, Srinagar, Calcutta, Madras and Lucknow. 3 Upgrah Kendras of Doordarshan were set up in Delhi, Cuttack and Hyderabad with full production facilities. Sight was a most ambitious and unique project in the history of television anywhere in the world. This prepared the ground for a major expansion of the television network across India. With increase in viewership, there was a sharp rise in the number of households with TV sets. Television not only provided a new stage to theatre artists, constantly striving to reach out to a larger audience, but also presented them with a creative challenge to cope with new technology. Literary magazines in Hindi and Urdu, Patrika and Bazm. Celebrity interviews and discussions with experts sought to provide the background to events covered in the news and enhanced their understanding. living legends sparkled on the television screen, while rendering classical as well as light music.
अभी तो मैं जवान हूँ.
National programs of music and dance were started in 1979. These proved to be immensely popular and made viewers aware of their diverse and resplendent cultural heritage. Doordarshan and All India Radio were bifurcated as it was felt that the two were different media and coupling them together was stifling both.
आज हम दूरदर्शन यानी टीवी को रेडियो से अलग कर रहे हैं. ये ज़रूरी हो गया क्योंकि दोनों बिल्कुल अलग-अलग चीज़ें हैं और उनके कार्यक्रमों के लिए अलग प्रकार से तैयारी करनी होती है. अलग नहीं होता तो टीवी का विकास ठीक से नहीं हो सकता था.
A new signature image was created by the National Institute of Design and a signature tune was composed by Pandit Ravi Shankar. This ushered in an era of self-confident assertion. In subsequent years, Doordarshan news coverage broke many barriers. Reporters were sent out to cover national and international developments. There were other programs that catered to the mass audience.
सवाल पूछा गया कि आप पुलिस ऑफिसर हैं? जी हाँ.
क्या जगह? आप पुलिस कमिश्नर भिंडर साहब हैं? वो आई थी.
Feature films were regularly telecast, and Chitrahar, based on Hindi film songs, was one of the most popular programs. The best of the programs produced by different centres were exchanged regularly. One such popular program was Phool Khile Hain Gulshan Gulshan.
मेजर गगारिन और श्रीमती गगारिन, हमें बड़ी खुशी है कि आप दोनों यहाँ आए और हम अपने स्टूडियो में आपका स्वागत करते हैं.
Viewers identified with newsreaders and presenters, accepted them happily as members of the family, and established with them long-lasting bonds. Many faces seen on the television acquired celebrity status with the passage of time.
एक दिन का इत्तेफाक है कि उस दिन मैं न्यूज़ की ड्यूटी पर थी और उस वक्त की न्यूज़ रीडर थे गोपाल कौर. वो न्यूज़ पढ़ना नहीं चाहते थे और ऑफिस चाहता था कि वो न्यूज़ पढ़ें. तो जब अपना सर मुंडवा कर आए तो एक क्राइसिस हो गया क्योंकि उस तरह उन्हें पेश नहीं किया जा सकता था. तो मुझे बुलाया गया और पूछा कि भैया आप न्यूज़ पढ़ेंगी? तो ज़ाहिर है मैं तो तैयारी थी. मैंने कहा जी मैं बिल्कुल पढ़ूँगी. न्यूज़ की रिहर्सल की और ज़ाहिर 15 मिनट का बुलेटिन था, उसको लेकर स्टूडियो में पहुँचे और न्यूज़ शुरू हुई और मैंने न्यूज़ पढ़ना शुरू कर दिया. 15 मिनट कैसे गुजरे मुझे पता नहीं, लेकिन न्यूज़ पढ़ने के बाद जब मैं अंदर कंट्रोल रूम में गई और दिल में एक एहसास था कि बहुत वाह वाह होगी, तो मैंने देखा कि सब अपना सर पकड़े बैठे हुए हैं और एक खामोशी छाई हुई है. पता ये चला कि मैंने अपनी नर्वसनेस में इतनी तेज़ न्यूज़ पढ़ी कि कोई वो फिल्म ही नहीं चला पाए.
Sports programs telecast on television were equally popular among the young and the old. A major factor that contributed to the evolution of Indian television to the next stage was the organization of the Asian Games in 1982. This was an important turning point.
आज के इस खेल प्रश्नोत्तर का विषय है एशियाई खेल.
Colour was introduced on the eve of the Asian Games. The first telecast in colour took place on the 15th of August 1982 when the national program started. The coverage of the Asian Games was a spectacular success, contributing significantly to the impact of television. The Indian victory in the Cricket World Cup provided it with opportunities to showcase remarkable Indian achievements. The country sat spellbound as Doordarshan telecast the first Indian cosmonaut, Rakesh Sharma, orbiting in space.
ऊपर से भारत कैसा दिखता है आपको?
Namaste.
Thank you for your warm greetings, Gadelbeck. It's wonderful to be able to speak to you all the way in Almaty.
This was the time when a space bridge was established between India and the erstwhile Soviet Union, over which people were brought face to face. Between July and October in 1983, one transmitter was added a day. Soon, the entire country was covered with low-power terrestrial transmitters. New centers were steadily added, and the hardware was constantly upgraded. An important challenge was to increase the emotional integration of the states of the northeastern region. A Doordarshan Kendra was opened in Guwahati. Till then, people in this region were recipients of television programs. DD2 was launched in 1984. For the first time, viewers were exposed to the works of great masters of world cinema. Eminent film producers and directors were invited to bring their work to the new medium. Internationally renowned director Satyajit Ray produced Sadgati, based on a classic Hindi short story written by Premchand. Tapan Sinha made Aadmi Aur Aurat, specially for Doordarshan. The pioneering program was Hum Log, a Hindi soap opera that highlighted the challenges of social change in a tradition-bound society. Bunyad powerfully evoked the tragedy of the partition and the communal carnage that followed in its wake. It cast a magical spell over audiences. It was reported that when Bunyad was telecast, the streets in Pakistani cities were deserted. Everyone was glued to their TV sets. Revisiting the past may have been painful, but it was cathartic for many and allowed the younger generation to look beyond the scars and think of a shared future. Television gave a welcome spurt to sitcoms, talk shows and quizzes. Many other long-running serials telecast by Doordarshan regaled Indian audiences and set standards for others to follow. Ramayan and Mahabharat, based on the epics, were real blockbusters, big-budget productions cast in the mold of mythological films, replete with period costumes, majestic sets and dazzling special effects. Directors and producers took up the challenge of examining the present in the light of the more recent past and to exorcise painful ghosts. Tamas was a ruthlessly bold effort to explore the roots of communal prejudice. Bharat Ek Khoj, directed by Shyam Benegal, was based on Jawaharlal Nehru's The Discovery of India and enlivened audiences with imaginative recreations of the past.
नियमों का पालन करेगा और व्यवस्था को बनाएगा गणाधिपति.
Throughout the tumult, Doordarshan remained conscious of its responsibility as a public broadcaster. Its programming emphasized the educational and the informative over the merely entertaining or escapist titillating fare. Programs like Turning Point and Quest were extremely popular and deserve special mention. Doordarshan included in its programming offerings that may have had a much smaller viewership, but that provided intellectual stimulation and raised the awareness of the audience about the world around it. Derrida, Chomsky and Said, the leading contemporary public intellectuals, appeared on Doordarshan.
राजम का बच्चा, घमंडी कहीं का।
कहते हैं कि गालिब का है।
The serial, based on the life and times of the great Urdu poet Mirza Ghalib, was one such memorable example.
हर एक बात पे कहते हो तुम।
Namaskaram.
Even shorts and fillers designed to communicate socially relevant messages acquired iconic status. The Freedom Run galvanized hundreds of millions, and the soul-stirring Mile Sur Mera Tumhara charged them with patriotic fervor. It continues to inspire and enthrall millions melodiously.
मिले सुर मेरा तुम्हारा तो सुर बने हमारा.
Gulf War brought about a paradigm shift in television news coverage the world over. Cable television became the buzzword and brought live war coverage to Indian homes for the first time. It was clear that Doordarshan too would have to respond to emerging challenges, both technological and creative. Doordarshan, hitherto a government monopoly, geared up for competition. Many bold initiatives were taken in the 1990s. Hardware and software were upgraded to keep the production of news in step with the changes. Private-public partnerships were forged to ensure that the country didn't lag behind the rest of the world. The 1991 election coverage was objective and extremely impressive on account of high-tech virtuosity. Nothing like this had been seen on DD before this. Several high-powered committees and commissions appointed by the government had recommended this in the past. Prasar Bharati seemed the realization of an old dream, a fruition of many aspirations. And a lively public debate is raging about the future of television in India and Doordarshan's role as a public broadcaster.
सरकार से हमें कोई लेना देना नहीं है।
टेलीविजन केवल समाचार नहीं है, टेलीविजन के साथ बहुत कुछ जुड़ा है।
राखी सावंत अपने आप में खबर है, मैं उसको खबर की दृष्टि से देखता हूं।